Yeah, do you want a flowery introduction? Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Kauai Comic Con 2024. It is my honor to be back here for the second year in a row, but I'm here with the real star of the show, Kimberly Hope Music. Has been rocking and rolling on the violin forever. But have you been to all three of these?
No, this is just my second one.
Your second one as well.
Wasn't here the first
I mean,
time.
you're a mainstay here. You're the true rock star here.
Thank you, Ming.
All your nerdiness and love of music has come together in like the perfect mashup of awesomeness.
Yes, that's what I love about this.
And I'm glad you're here, but I have so many questions. We met here last year. You were taking on a violin, and I'm like, oh, wow, that's cool. Are you going to be playing music, but not just any music, pop culture, video game, TV, movie theme songs. And immediately I was intrigued. I used to be something of a violinist myself. Now, don't get too impressed. This was about 40 years ago. My parents forced me into playing the violin. You as a violinist, I learned under the Suzuki method, and I played for 8 years, and I hated every moment of it. And the reason I hated it was because I was playing like Beethoven and Brahms and Bach, which is fine.
All the classical stuff.
Classics, they've been playing for hundreds of years. Classics, they'll never be old. But I was 6.
Too young.
Didn't want to play Beethoven. I wanted to play Bon Jovi. I wanted to play Led Zeppelin. And had I known that could have been a thing later on, if my parents just told me I could have been the really cool guy from the Dave Matthews Band who plays the violin, I totally would have stuck with it. But that wasn't a thing back then. And so when I was 14, I begged out. I begged my way out. But now that I've met you, I regret it. I wish I had stuck with it. What is your background in music? And then what is your background in nerddom? I guess we'll start with music. Did you start early playing the violin?
I started when I was 10 years old.
Okay.
I don't really know why I chose violin. I just kind of, in my 5th grade orchestra, they were offering, you can learn violin, viola, or cello.
Yeah.
And I just was like, hey, I kind of want to try the violin. And I went home, asked my parents, and they were like, really? You want to learn violin? I mean, it was just a random thing. No one else in my family really played. Yeah, there you guys are.
Yeah.
Yes, violins.
Ladies
Donkey
and
Kong and Mario at it.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have Donkey Kong, I think a member of the Frog Brothers, or Snake Plissken, or Solid Snake. We have a couple of members of Console, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
Wow, and you come armed with sandwiches.
Ooh, yeah.
Get your
What's the food?
Minerals. Yeah.
Jelly.
Oh, peanut butter jelly.
Yeah. Well done.
I know,
Well done,
I gotta
guys.
get some lunch too.
We'll get you. So I've been living on spam masubis like for the last 2 days. It's pretty awesome. So you chose the violin then. You consciously, and out of those 3 instruments, like that's clearly the cooler one.
I mean, cello's pretty cool. Viola, and they always make fun of the viola, but
Yeah, you know the problem with
he plays the viola.
You play the viola? I know the viola. I don't know. Not to make funny, but before you walked here, just so I have some credit, I played the violin for 8 years.
Yeah.
So I have a little cred. Youth Symphony, school orchestra, but the cello's cool. You have to lug that thing around.
Yeah, I was like, it's a little bit too big, so I'm glad I chose the violin there.
Yeah, and so when did you start playing geek music? Do you remember the first song that you adapted, or found sheet music for, or notes or any what do you? I imagine you learned with the classics, right?
Yeah,
They
started
always
out
teach you
with
that.
Suzuki method as well,
Yeah,
and
it's for a kid.
pretty sure Sean did as too.
Yeah,
It's a very popular method for violin, and
it's just not fun though. It's for a
only if you love classical music, like some people. But
no kid like classical music. Classical music or the theme to Ninja Gaiden. Like, come on.
So Mom told me I had to love Suzuki, and no, I didn't.
yeah,
That's how most students start. If I could throw an American Fiddle recommendation, my first teacher, you will learn Suzuki, how you're supposed to learn it. You never get to see the music or nothing. Well, now she only teaches the Mark O'Connor method. So it's all the American fiddle gathered across the U.S., and it's a little bit easier to learn, and fiddle kind of fun. So
Mark O'Connell.
Mark
Yeah, I think
O'Connor,
I've heard of that.
Yeah, I want to learn the Kimberly Hope method though. You should start a method where like kids start out playing like video game music.
Oh,
you know how
yeah.
many kids would pick up the violin if you did that?
I mean, I do try to incorporate like songs that my students like. I keep them on their classical stuff to get all the technique down, but then I try to do songs that they also enjoy too as well. So
Yeah, that's why I literally hated every moment. I could not get into the music.
yeah.
And
Not for everyone. That's
yeah,
true,
I
but-
think you should. I'm not kidding. I think you should do a method where it's all pop culture and video game music.
Oh yeah, that'd be
'Cause seriously,
cool.
if I got to play like the Game of Thrones theme,
Yeah.
I'd be playing right now. I guess not too late. Like you've inspired me.
Yeah.
When I saw you last year, I was like,
Pick it up again,
maybe
Ming.
I'll go take lessons again. I don't know. Like I literally, the last time I touched a violin, it's 14. I'm 49 now, about to turn 50s. So that's what 36 years.
Yeah.
Do you think I could pick it back up like riding a bike? I think it might be a little harder. I don't remember how to read music anymore, but it should come back, right?
Some of
Yeah.
it, yeah, it'll come back if you.
Yeah. So do
try
you
it.
remember the first, or maybe one of the first like?
What I can
Boom,
think
that
of
you
is Lindsey Sterling was like the first contemporary violinist I used to get into.
Yeah.
I was exposed to, I guess, and so like just seeing her do her own style with the dubstep violin and dancing while she plays, and then doing all the videos on YouTube of like Pokemon and different arrangements.
Yeah.
That was like my first experimentation with that kind of music. And then Taylor Davis as well. I don't know. Yeah, she does a lot of video game music. And so just seeing them do it, and then I just started learning some of their arrangements. And from there, yeah, I just fell in love with it and tried to learn as much as I could.
That's me. Do you remember the first one that you're like, hey, I'm gonna play this theme song, and you're like, wow, it sounded pretty good. I'm gonna see if I can do more.
I don't know what's the first
Are we talking violin or just in general?
or in
Just
general.
in general, because it's very like a non-traditional. You learn music. They try to teach you like classical music or like a jazz tune or something. Like what was those things like? Hey, I could do the the theme to Zelda.
Yeah, Theme to Zelda is like top 5. Typical song you're gonna learn really quickly. For me in particular, I think it was either Ken's theme from Street Fighter or the theme from Braveheart.
Ah,
Yeah, just to kind of keep it on vein with what we're talking about. But this is around like maybe 10 years ago or so, and same thing like Lindsey Sterling's doing her thing. And I also kind of got starry-eyed. I'm like, oh, maybe I can do like guitar covers of the same kind of thing. So there is definitely like a niche and a small little movement doing kind of like non-vocal, non-pop arrangements on any kind of instrument. And so, yeah, for me at the beginning, I think it was Red Hot Chili Peppers.
oh, nice.
That's, yeah, because I don't have any formal training. I'm all self-taught. I used the internet, dial-up internet back then to kind of teach myself to play some songs. And then eventually I developed an ear, and now I just learn songs by ear.
What was the first thing you adapted, or do you remember like the first like piece of geek music that you played?
Ooh, for me, it would probably be it's the video game that got me into video games. And my older sister actually purchased it while we lived in Hawaii years ago. It was Kingdom Hearts.
Kingdom Hearts.
Kingdom Hearts 2 specifically, that opening theme song, Passion Hikari, oh, it's just beautiful. And then they rearranged it for Kingdom Hearts 3, and I was like, no way. I love it. Favorite game of all time. And they're releasing it on Steam, all of the previous ones, in just a couple of weeks. I can't wait.
Nice.
I don't think I've seen you smile that big.
I love that smile. That's the kind of smile I usually only see at Comic-Cons, right? and so here we are for sure.
And
That's
you get to go to
awesome.
so many of them. You must, man, you live an awesome life. Just, I love seeing you go into all the Comic Cons. I follow you on Instagram, and just, it's so awesome.
Yeah, console, DGM, the DGM band. I love it. So when did you start performing in public? When did you become known as Kimberly Hope music, like the pop culture musician?
I mean, I think I started playing at events around the island when I was like a senior in high school. I started kind of doing like art walks on the street, you know, the
Yeah, so a lot of art walks here, like Friday nights.
Yeah.
in
I
the
would just
weekend.
start doing that, busking, and then from there I just branched out to other kinds of events, you know, community things and weddings and just anything that needs music. And so yeah, just like I said, I only was classical until I started doing Lindsey Sterling. So when I started doing that, I was like, oh, maybe I can play that at the art walks and see if people like it. I realized, wow, yeah, that was really fun and cool to do. I was like, people liked it and I enjoyed playing it, so I just kept doing it and then started playing all the other kinds from there. But I used to be so shy when I first did it, you know, like I wouldn't talk. I would just play all Lindsay songs over and over.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say anything, but the music spoke for itself at that time, and then, you know, from there, just kept going.
I mean, what's it like when, you know, you're playing something, right, and someone walks by and you see them recognize where you're playing, like, oh, whoa, that's the theme to Metal Gear Solid, like, whoa, and you get that big smile.
Yeah,
You must see it all
it's
the time.
priceless. It's great to just see people, you know, make people happy with music, especially that they recognize that you said, you know, like it goes off in their head like, that sounds familiar. Oh yeah, that's
I know this song.
from that. And, you know, because they usually don't hear it on those types of instruments, right?
Yeah, it was like, all right, that's the video game we just spent 75 hours trying to defeat.
Yeah,
I know that song.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
It's ingrained in their brain from playing it for so long.
Yeah, and how long have you guys been together? Like, what do you remember forming Console, and what's the history behind Console?
Have you ever watched Conan the Barbarian?
I have, yes.
In the beginning, it's the guy that's like, before the oceans ate Atlantis, and the time of high adventure, the chronicler, right? That's me. I've been in the band from the beginning. And actually, everybody in the band is not original members, so it's just me. I'm the one keeping the legend going, but actually through YouTube, I think I was doing Street Fighter theme and, you know, like these various video game songs. And this is on Oahu. Somebody left a comment on one of my YouTube videos. And he said, hey, we should jam. And so I met this guy off of YouTube. He recently relocated to Oahu through the military, played guitar, happened to have a lot of the similar influences. And so I invited him over to my apartment. We played a little bit. And I asked him, okay, hey, so I have all these interests. So if anybody follows me directly, I have like 7 or 8 different projects that I'm in. This is just one of them. And at the time I told him, hey, we can do movie themes. We can do video game music. We can do original music. We can do punk rock covers of Hawaiian songs. I know. I gave him like all these different options, and almost like the Dalai Lama, he picked the video game stuff. Like, just he went there, and then I had a friend, I had a partner to help me with this, and it's very hard to do it by yourself. I'm sure Kim can kind of attest to that. So I typically need to have somebody with me to get me moving. And then once I have that, then I can start getting things going. But anyway, it started on YouTube with a comment in 2017. Yeah, so this guy commented in 2017. I got a band started. We recorded in 2019. We finally recorded an album that we released in February. Yeah, so it's on Spotify if you guys want to check it out. Console, the VGM Band. The album's called Press Start. 14 songs. Yeah. Yeah, Press Start. You like that, huh? Yeah. So... was that 7 years? Is my math right?
Yeah.
2019 is when we recorded drums, but the comment was 2017. Yeah, 7 years. So Sean is the second member that kind of joined, and he's got a funny story. I'll tell it, and then he can tell his side of it. So I joined a community orchestra for fun, and it's a similar thing. This is on Oahu. It's called Hitbox Music Ensemble if you guys are interested in it. and they needed a guitar player for their anime songs and movie themes and Nintendo songs. And I go, oh, I kind of have some interest in that. And at the time, I was teaching myself how to read sheet music. So as a guitar player, sheet music is like the bane of existence. So after I played for a long time, I started to kind of go, I think I should teach myself this. So I started to teach myself how to read, and this gave me the opportunity to join this community orchestra, and I was totally the oddball amongst all the oddballs. Like, no offense to orchestra people, but I'm like, it's a little different. And so, but I was the weirdo in that group, and that's fine. So anyway, Sean was in that group, and one day I was driving home from rehearsal, and he goes, Brian, I gotta be in your band. I gotta be in your band. I gotta play like a song or two. I gotta do it. And I'm like, I don't know, man. Like, I don't know. Violin's kind of like not rock and roll, you know? Yeah, I know. Yeah. And so I was like, you know what? Who am I to get in the way of like this? So I said, why don't you give him a shot? And at the time, I think he only did 2 songs for like 2 years because he was tied up and busy, and then eventually he became more of a established kind of member. But I think that was in 2019 is when Sean joined. But yeah, I think that's it. You can add to that if you like.
Yeah, so what happened was, graduate high school down in Oahu, got scouted by the HPU orchestra. And they brought me in with Teresa McCrary, and our first year there, we played with a certain composer named Chris Suzuki. And he composed Namokulua, something for the Mokulua Islands as part of like a Hawaiian theme we were doing that year. And I was the concert master of the orchestra. And I was like, this is great, because they scouted me in high school, and my first year of college, I met Chris. And then Chris goes, I need some violins. And that's how I found the Hitbox Music Ensemble. And that was about 2017. Him and my friend Charisse brought me in. And then I started playing with them. I met Brian, and I learned there was console VGM, some rock and roll video game band. And I'm like, I have an electric violin. No way. I can finally use it. I've had this thing for like 8 years in my closet, just been waiting for it. And then I joined console, and the rest is history, and now I'm here for the second year.
That's awesome. That's like Luke Skywalker's lightsaber being hidden over at Maz Kanata's place. Like, here, use this. This has been waiting here for you. That's amazing. So you all play a lot of video game theme song music, which I absolutely love. I'll start with you. Do you have a favorite video game property? Favorite video game itself? Favorite video game world? It can be 8-bit. It can be Switch. It can be whatever. Anything.
It's hard to choose,
I know.
but I mean, I guess I've been mostly into like the Nintendo consoles, like Switch. I had all the Game Boys. I had all the GameCube, the Wii, Switch. Now I have, and so like Mario has always been the ones. Like when I was growing up, my mom would always come home from work and play the Super Mario 64 and try to save the princess.
Yeah.
And that's how I would just watch her. I would never play because I was so like, I don't know, I was scared of it as a kid. Then like for the longest time I watched, and then I was like, I kind of want to try playing now. So then, yeah, eventually I guess I got it from mom there.
Yeah, you know what that's called? Called good parenting. Well done, guys.
Yeah, and I still remember all the songs from Super Mario 64. Man, it's all good stuff there. I gotta learn more of that. I only know the main theme, but I gotta learn, all the. Yeah, there's so many different ones in that one.
What's your favorite?
From Mario 64.
Anyway, yeah.
Well, I just want to chime in on that, so I'll add to that. Bob-omb Battlefield, look that up. And then
Battle, yeah.
the Dire Dire Docks. Those are like pretty standout tunes for that.
Yeah.
So for my origin stories, one of my very first memories is a Super Nintendo. My dad comes home from work, and he's got a Super Nintendo with him. I'm 3 years old. It's like one of my first memories. And I didn't know how to play it. Similar thing. I just watched my older sister and my dad sometimes played Super Mario World. And eventually, as I got a little bit older, I was like, oh, I actually really like this. I'm actually from here, by the way, and back then it was like very boring. So I played a lot of Super Nintendo growing up. And I think probably the one game slash soundtrack that really had a profound impact on me musically is Chrono Trigger from Super Nintendo. Yeah, that has some really good world music, and little did I know later on through life, I would go back in my memory of playing these games and how much exposure to different genres that the games were giving me. Because again, growing up here, there's not really a jazz scene, there's not really a classical scene, there's not really a lot of this kind of stuff. But a lot of these games have such wild like genres inside of them. And so now when I go back into like my nostalgia bank for like tools to help me remember, like here's some musical terms like, oh, Mixolydian or like Dorian, I'll go back to like, oh, that's that forest maze area, that's the sound of whatever. So Chrono Trigger is for me probably one of the bigger soundtracks. And now for Sean.
Well, it all started with Kingdom Hearts 2. And then after that, because we were military, used to move a whole lot. So the one thing that I would always do with all of my friends, every time we'd move, we'd find new friends, and everybody played video games. At the time, it was the dawn of handheld consoles. I remember my Game Boy Advance had Pokemon, and I loved the themes. Started with Pokemon Crystal, and then Pokemon Yellow, and then I got Ruby, Fire Red, Leaf Green. Oh, that I just loved them. Yeah, I loved them. And Super Mario 64, actually, I never played the original on the Nintendo, but they re-released it later on Nintendo DS, and we decided to drive from Washington all the way to Georgia one year, because that was the family's grand road trip to go visit our grandparents. And that is when I collected every single star in that game. And then, I just love it. And right around there was, what was before Mario Odyssey? Can't remember the name, it just slipped my mind. The first 3D Galaxy! Oh, I love Galaxy. Yeah. Yeah. But Gusty Garden Galaxy, I love that soundtrack, and then just orchestral things from then on. And then slightly later, I figured out how to, well, I probably shouldn't say it, but I figured out how to bootleg ROMs, and Cool ROMs was online. And I started downloading them all, and that's what got me into Final Fantasy orchestral soundtracks. Yep. I paid for every single game. Well, now I've bought every single copy I've ever bootlegged, because I gotta own it. They're so good.
Yeah, FBI, ignore all of that. Ignore that. All right, I have one final question for all three of you, since you guys are nerds, you play video game music. If you could play music in any pop culture or video game world, which one would it be? Like, you could jump in and play with the Cantina band in Star Wars, or you could go play. You could play music for the Squid Lady from Fifth Element, or is there a world that you could you take your instruments to and perform and wow the crowd in that world?
Wow, that's a good question. I mean, if I had to choose, what's coming to mind is Harry Potter.
Okay, yeah.
But I don't know if they play music.
I mean, you can play at the snowball. You can play the music at
the balls.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I would love to be in that universe and just be immersed in, being at Hogwarts and that'd be cool to be, if they had an orchestra or something there and just playing with all the wizards and witches. I don't know.
Yeah, no, that's
all I can think of right now. But
that's perfect. How about you? Where you could take your band anywhere into any world? Where are you guys going?
I have no idea. Do you have an idea?
Okay, well, it would either be Donkey Kong or Sea of Thieves, because I love the sea shanties and all that. K. Rool is amazing. Or music doesn't exist anymore, but it would be Nier Automata, because I love the soundtracks, especially Emil's theme.
Excellent answers. All right, I'm going to let you guys get back out there to rock the rest of Kauai Comic-Con 2024. Thank you, Council of the VGM Band. Thank you for coming up here. No, all good, all good, all good, all good. I gave Kimberly some more time, so, and thank you. Your inspiration, and any more Walking Dead autographs you need, I'll take care of yours for sure. So
Yes,
I
thank
know
you
you're a
so
big fan.
much, Ming.
Of
That